Tristan Kumar's Dying Planet. Written by Tristan Kumar. Act 1. Dreams. Trigger warning. The following work of fiction contains the articles and themes of blood, death, murder, brief described gore, described injury, brief nightmare imagery, a school shooting event, and violence against children. Please listen with care and stop if you feel triggered or provoked at any point. Thank you. Part 1. The infection begins. Life seems to find a path to destruction. Humanity is especially dropping the breadcrumbs for it. I know that because the Earth blew it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Earth was still existing. Now, it is a bunch of scattered pieces all across the galaxy. We need to start at the beginning. It was November of 2032. I was still in school, and life was exceptionally normal. I didn't expect that life would change that very day. I lost my parents at a very young age, but kept it a secret. I buried them myself and told no one. My parents weren't very interactive, so no one came to check if they were okay. I kept going to school with the money they paid for me. I used their money to pay for the school's tuition, and sometimes even worked at stores to get the money. I got on the bus and headed to my seat at the back. I walked to the back when the bus lurched forward. The driver yelled in rage at the clumsy driver who had cut him off, but continued. I tripped on my feet as I walked to the back. Other than a few chuckles, no one laughed, and I know why. There was always a time, every single day, that I did something or acted stupidly, either for my own body or someone else who did it for the laughs or revenge against me. Everyone laughed at me in the first few days, but soon, barely anyone did. I loved the silence of no one laughing. It was relaxing. 8th grade was probably the toughest year for me, because new students lead to new bullies or friends. I called this year the blues, and it described the year so far. I walked back to my new and old friends and sat down. "Hey," one of them said. I couldn't tell who because it was so crowded. The bus lurched from side to side, and all the kids slid back and forth. It was the same old usual typical school day. Except something happened when we got to school, or a little bit after we got to school. We got off the bus and entered the glass building. The glass building was the main building of the school. The school was a large campus, not too large, but not too small as well. Inside, there was a broken, rusted chandelier. It was so old that the lights didn't even work anymore because no one cared to change them. If I am honest, when I first came to school, I thought that the chandelier was from the late 1800s. Surprisingly, it's from the late 1900s, but still. If one of the employees were to take off the chandelier, I positively guarantee that more than 1 million animals, insects, and other things would fall from that ceiling. Yeah, I think it's that old. Anyway, 2 staircases went up to the 2nd floor. I headed up the stairs to my first class. In the first class, there was a big window. It was probably a ballroom before people who bought the mansion changed the title from mansion to school. As I walked in, all the kids crowded around the window, looking at something outside. I didn't really care and sat down in my seat. They started whispering, and I looked at my watch. 8:06 a.m. School started 6 minutes ago, but where was our teacher? Mr. Lane, our teacher in this class, was a pretty nice guy, unless you were part of the group. The group. The group was nicknamed The Group because if you said the actual name, Scorpion Squad, because, they're mean and tough, they would bully you for a month and a half, I've heard. I have seen people bullied, but not like this. The Scorpion Squad were the cool kids. I was not a cool kid, especially. I would never be a cool kid ever in my life because I hang out with my gang. Yeah, the crew. We were the people who were called the nerds by the Scorpion Squad. We tried to be calm, trust me, but nope, no can do, not good enough for the Scorpion Squad. We are called the Fire Earthers because we believe the world is on fire, and in a way, it is. Mr. Lane didn't like the Scorpion Squad either because they were mean and rude, but he wasn't that powerful. If he used his voice, then for sure, without a doubt, he would shut them up for good, but he never did. I came back to my senses from looking at the watch. Now, the watch says 8:11 a.m. Something was wrong. The teachers had never been late for any class. Maybe they had a meeting or something. I stood up and headed to the fire earthers and the other people around the window. They were looking out the window as well. I looked out as well, and then I saw them. I saw many people shooting guns and killing teachers and students from out of the window. How had I not heard the shooting when I walked into the school? My eyes widened, and then I heard a bang at the door with multiple screams and gunfire. Kids screamed and backed away. Some started to panic. I did too. I didn't want to die either. I still had a life to live. They busted open the door, and people screamed. "Shut up!" a man in black with a gun said. On the other hand, he was holding something that I couldn't see at the time. He walked to the middle of the room and placed the gun down. He revealed the thing in his other hand. It was a small, light gray briefcase. He opened it up and pulled out a cube that glowed red. It looked like a gift from the devil. Yet it scientifically looked like a reactor of some sort, but had never been seen by me or anyone else in the room before. There was a red glow emitting from the inside. He pushed a couple of buttons, and a 30-second countdown started. This was most likely a bomb. He pointed his guns at us in the corner, but one kid ran past him, shoved him into the whiteboard, and slammed a brick into his skull. He fell to the ground, probably dead. It was the right thing to do if we all wanted to live anyway. All the other kids ran past the bomb man, and the savior kid ran with them. 15. I ran through gunfire to leave the building before the explosion could happen. 10. I ran far away from the school, faster than the other kids. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I ran and then turned around. 0. The ground began to rumble, and a red beam or laser shot into the sky. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. The sky turned red, lava began to seep out of the building, and the ground started to break. It was like every single natural disaster was happening at once. The glass shattered and concrete blocks flew past us because of the wind. Then I heard a big boom and saw an explosion in the sky. The beam must have hit something and then was redirected towards the sun. The red beam went farther and farther and farther, but then the beam stopped. The sky was still red, but the noise and the beam stopped. Everyone was silent. Then a deafening noise filled the air, and a shockwave of wind came from the sun, came at us at over 30 miles an hour. We looked back at the sun, which had turned red and much bigger. The yellow, shining, glorious sun that had just been there a second ago had turned from the sun into a chaotic red giant, with the flares shooting around it menacingly. It almost looked like it wanted Earth. It wanted the Earth to die. Everyone gasped. Cop cars, fire trucks, ambulances, and many more drove up to take all incident survivors. I said that I was fine, and they nodded. They probably knew that I needed to comprehend this event for a minute. Everyone did. The sun was gradually getting bigger as time passed, and the sun would probably destroy the Earth in less than a week or so. This was not good. Not good at all. I left to go back to the meeting area for the fire earthers. Some didn't show up because they were injured or perhaps dead. What happened? I asked slowly to the group. Nobody answered, but I was not surprised. Everyone was shocked, as much as the world was at this point. Did we? Someone said, breathing heavily. Just cause imminent doom for this planet? I don't want you to think like that, I said. But yes, I think we did. Everyone was silent for around 2 minutes. We had all seen things. People dying, fires burning without control, and a star turning red. Suddenly, a voice from behind me shouted. I shouldn't have turned around because I was shoved by the prominent leader of the Scorpion Squad onto the ground. "What did I do?" I said in a scared voice. I was scared. "Well, look at the freaking sky, idiot. You're the one who did this," the kid who pushed me over said. I didn't do anything," I said. "Liar! Billions of people are going to die because of you, and you don't even take the blame for it," he said. I stood up. "I'm not going to take the blame for it because I didn't do it. You were there, you saw what happened." He threw a fist towards my head, but I ducked, sprung up, and punched him in the chin. Both members of the Scorpion Squad and the Fire Earthers pulled us away quickly, but I resisted and broke free from the robust and united grasp on my anger. "Maybe you're the one who caused this," I yelled back at him. He broke free and shouted, "I said to shut up." "Well, I'm not." "But you're gonna, punk." "What?" It was too late. He punched me in the neck without me knowing. I dropped to the ground and coughed up blood. I could barely breathe. The Scorpion Squad walked away, chuckling, but I could hear the leader say, "If you die, it won't matter, because all of us will die soon because of you. You. You." His last words echoed, and my eyes began to close, but I urged them to stay open. I couldn't just go out like this. The Fire Earthers crowded around me, and then I remembered nothing, except for this weird dream I had. After staring at nothing for about an hour and feeling pain in my entire body, especially my neck where he hit me, I saw a light and reached out to touch it. Suddenly, I was in this dream world. I was staring at the newly made red giant. I stared at it in curiosity. Suddenly, I heard booming all around me, and the red giant exploded. Meteors began to fall on Earth. People were screaming and running in the midst of it all. I saw my own body underneath an oncoming meteor. My body on Earth closed its eyes and smiled as the world exploded when the meteor hit me. I stared around. I saw nothing. Just a clump of rocks where Earth previously was. I blinked, but when I looked back at Earth, there was something that I hadn't seen earlier, and it was very hard to miss. A beautiful, cosmic energy, blast like a nebula, was shaped in the form of a butterfly. Suddenly, it became a real butterfly and landed on my finger. For some reason, I thought this meant that I, of all people, had to save the world. Only me. The fate of the world lay in my clumsy hands. That was going to be a tough job. I suddenly dropped from the butterfly that flew off and was back to feeling nothing. This episode was recorded by Tristan Kumar, who's also the author of the book. Sorry if it sounds kind of weird, I'm a bit sick right now. But anyway, if you enjoyed this and you want to hear what happens next in Tristan Kumar's Dying Planet, find the next video on my channel. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.